What's up, chat? You know, there's something very interesting about watching democracy devour itself in real time. It's like watching a snake swallow its own tail, except the snake is the federal government and the tail is also the federal government. That's kind of how the metaphor works. Last week, we witnessed the FBI cleaning house, and since the government is so focused on kicking out every Hispanic person they see, it might be something they get used to doing. Here's the big news. Former acting FBI Director Brian Driscoll has been fired, along with several other FBI officials. Now, Driscoll briefly served as acting director for about a month while Kash Patel's nomination was being considered. That's right, he got fired from a job he was essentially babysitting. The efficiency is almost admirable. Why wait for due process when you can just eliminate the person faster than an episode of Squid Games? But here's where the story transforms from bureaucratic comedy into full-blown dystopian theater. According to the NBC News, Driscoll made headlines when he resisted a Justice Department directive to turn over a list of agents who had worked on the January 6 cases. Yes, the classic mistake, having principals in a principal-free zone. Driscoll had the spectacular audacity to push back when Deputy Attorney General Emil demanded the names of thousands of FBI employees who worked on the January 6th investigations. And when I say demanded, I mean demanded for the purposes of turning them into unemployed former federal agents. Now, Driscoll's response was basically the bureaucratic equivalent of signing his own death warrant with a really nice pen. He wrote it in a memo to FBI employees. This request encompasses thousands of employees across the country who have supported these investigative efforts, and I am one of those employees. Translation: you want to purge people for doing their jobs? Well, you have to start with me, which as it turns out, they took as a helpful suggestion rather than a moral stand. This is the thing about Emil, the guy demanding these lists. According to NPR, there's a disconnect between Emil's aggressive stance at the time to hold Notice accountable and his current hostility towards the January 6 probe. So this is a guy who used to prosecute January 6 cases, and now he's trying to fire the people who investigate them. That's like a former firefighter going around setting fires because he decided water's bad, actually. Unfortunately, there's more. Also getting fired is Steve Jensen, assistant director of the Washington field office, who played a key role in January 6 investigations and previously served as section chief of domestic terrorism operations section. You know, that one division that isn't important, just the guy in charge of investigating domestic terrorism? No big deal to lose that expertise. Now, both Driscoll and Jensen, guys with nearly 20-year careers at the FBI, were given no explanation for their firing. Driscoll's farewell email to his colleagues said, "I understand that you may have a lot of questions regarding why, for which I currently have no answers. No cause has been articulated at this time. So we're firing decorated FBI agents. Driscoll has an FBI Medal of Valor and Shield of Bravery, but we can't tell him why. It's like getting a divorce where your spouse just leaves a post-it note and says, it's not you, actually it might be you, figure it out on your own. Here's what makes this genuinely terrifying, that I'm hiding behind this lighthearted approach. Driscoll's resistance made him, quote, a hero within the rank and file members of the FBI, where there were fears that the list would be used to purge the FBI agents who worked on the January 6 cases. And guess what? Those fears appear to have been completely justified because, according to multiple reports, leaders appointed by the Trump administration are identifying potentially hundreds of FBI agents for possible termination. But don't worry, during the confirmation hearings, Kash Patel promised that all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution, which at this point is aging about as well as poor white people. And it's not just the FBI. More than a dozen prosecutors who worked on January 6 cases were fired by the Justice Department, and some had filed lawsuits challenging their terminations. So we're systematically removing everyone who's investigated the events of January 6. You know what we call that in normal circumstances? Obstruction of justice. But I guess when you're doing it from the inside, it's called whatever the hell Elon was trying to do. The FBI Agents Association, which is real by the way, not something I made up, put out a statement saying if these agents are fired without due process, it makes the American people less safe. Agents need to be focused on their work and not potentially being illegally fired based on their assignments. But hey, who needs experienced experts and decorated FBI agents when you can have recent graduates from the FBI's community college? I don't know. Look, here's the bottom line. We're watching the systematic purge of law enforcement officials whose only crime was investigating crimes. Brian Driscoll's final email to his colleagues ended with, "I regret nothing. You are my heroes and I remain in your debt." That's not a message of someone who did something wrong. That's the message of someone who did something right and is being punished for it.
Okay, guys, I'm going to do a tornado siren once again.